my God, just the sound of that thing when you rip on it, woo, Lord. All right, long day. About to head out. It is a ton of gnats right here by my bike. I don't know if y'all can see that. All right, let's crank up. This is a lot of gnats though. All right, let's roll, baby. Today was definitely pretty busy. Got a lot accomplished, but didn't get a lot accomplished. Does that make sense? Does anybody else ever do that or have that feeling where you got a lot accomplished, but you didn't get a lot accomplished? So I tried making this video previously, but the sound quality and the wind, where I had the mic, it came out really bad. So I'm gonna take the same route home that I took home when I rode my boy Lou's street glide home for him. And I'm gonna talk to you all about my feel. This thing just wants to keep coming loose, man. I'll fix it at the light. I'm gonna talk to you all about my feelings on the differences between, like, and everyone knows it's a huge difference, but between the V Rod and like a touring bike such as the Street Glide. While most people who are considering a touring bike aren't thinking about the V Rod at all, but there may be someone out there may be that one person that's like, damn, do I get a V Rod, a Street Glide, a Road Glide? What should I get? There may be that one person that's like me, who was trying to decide what to get between all these different bikes when I ended up picking this up. All right, got the light. I could try to fix this shit. I just fixed it literally before I left the dealership. That ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to pull over up here real quick. That's good, right there, right in front of the raceway. Try to fix this. I don't know why this bothers me so much. Some people wouldn't care, but it really irritates me. So let's talk about some of the differences between the V Rod and your touring motorcycle, specifically the Street Glide, because that's what I rode home on the same route. Number one, the biggest difference between the two is going to be the wind protection and the extra amenities, such as your stereo system, your navigation, your seating position as far as your floorboards, and just the fact that that bike has cruise control. It has 6 gears. It has a different type of suspension. I feel like the suspension is more luxury, more plush, where you're not feeling a lot of the road. So overall, it is kind of more of a comfortable ride. Now let's talk about the V Rod. The V Rod is going to have more performance, in my opinion. Some people may feel like that Milwaukee 8 is going to have more performance, but I feel like the motor on this V Rod is more performance driven, and you're going to get more performance out of it. It's still a comfortable seating position. I don't have the floorboards for my feet, but you know, you can add on whatever type of foot pegs you want. If you want to put some mini boards, mini floorboard joints on your V Rod, you can. It'll look stupid as hell, but you can do it. Hell, I've even seen people put a big batwing fairing on their V Rod, and a Road Glide fairing. I've seen, they call it the V Glide or the Rod Glide or something. I forgot what they're calling it. I don't preferably think that that's the best look for a V Rod. I feel like if you're gonna do that, just buy a damn Road Glide. It is what it is. But some people want that V Rod performance with that Road Glide look, or the Road Glide and Street Glide amenities, such as the bags and all that stuff. Now, of course, on a touring bike, you get more storage capacity because you got your full bags. Whether you get the stretched or the standard bags, there's not a big room difference between the two. It's more of a look difference. Like, you're not really getting much more room with the stretched bags because it's kind of like little slide. You ain't getting that much more room. Oh my God, this line is backed up to hell, son. All right, hold on. I'm gonna show y'all real quick. One of the biggest differences. It's moving. I don't want the person behind me blowing at me, getting all pissed off. I'm gonna pull up. Then I'm gonna put this goddamn kickstand down. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna look at it. Y'all know what kind of looking at it I'm gonna do. Y'all know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at it. All right, let's drop that real quick. So one of the big differences is gonna be the look. You're getting a smaller framed motorcycle, sits a lot lower to the ground, but it's also raked out a little bit more. So that is going to affect as far as your handling, some people feel. I'll show y'all my thoughts on the handling when we hit these back roads up here. You know what I'm talking about? Another big difference is you're going to have a lot more customizing options when it comes to picking up a touring bike, even the older touring bikes, because they're still making parts and everything for them. Versus the V Rod, you're going to have a lot of trouble when it comes to finding just even parts to repair this thing, like just parts in general, because almost everything is considered an obsolete part because they no longer make this motorcycle and they're just phasing out all the parts for them. So when you do find parts, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for them. So it's kind of like, if you get a V Rod, well, at least this generation V Rod, you must really want that bike, because you're making some sacrifices. Like I'm making sacrifices by owning this baby. Another thing is maintenance. As far as maintenance on these bikes, I feel like the V Rod has a more solid motor. That's just my thoughts on it. I mean, it's co-designed with Porsche. I feel like it's a more solid motor, even though the new Milwaukee 8s, as well as the big twins and all of those, they're solid engines. Now when it comes to maintenance on the V Rod, there's an extra step that you got to deal with, such as the radiator and flushing out the coolant and changing your coolant, and you're supposed to do that a certain amount of times, I guess. I don't know, I ain't did it. I need to do it. I need to flush it out and put some engine ice in there, because that's what I usually run. Probably do that here in the next few weeks or the next month or so. Now, performing oil changes, I have never done an oil change myself on a big twin because I don't own one, or on a touring motorcycle because I don't own one. I have done oil changes on my Sportster as well as this V Rod, and I'll tell you right now, doing the oil change on the V Rod is a pain in my ass, and it's kind of because of where the oil filter is located. It's a pain in the butt to get to that thing and get it off. It's just a pain. Almost everything on this bike is kind of a pain. Changing out the battery, you got to take this top part off, which is the air filter box. Then you got to lift up the actual air filter just to get the damn battery out. It's a pain in the ass. So it's not very convenient to work on this motorcycle either. I feel like they made this bike almost as difficult to work on as it is to work on the Ducati. Like my Ducati Monster, the battery is under the gas tank. Like, what? You got to take the whole gas tank out to change the battery. Like, it's a pain in the butt, some of these bikes to work on compared to others. So that's something you want to think about if you plan on working on the bikes yourself. I feel like the touring motorcycles are a little bit easier to work on. I could be wrong. I've never worked on one. Y'all comment down below if those are a bitch to work on too. You know, excuse me, I'm wrong. All right, so we're on this nice little curvy road that I rode the street glide home on. And as far as handling and how the bikes handle between the two, I feel like the handling is different but similar. So let me explain. The handling on the street glides, road glides, things like that, they're gonna feel like they're a little bit more nimble with your handlebar movements because it has like a shorter rake on it or a different rake. So it feels like it's quicker to maneuver. But this V Rod, is extremely quick to maneuver. Now, if you have that 240 rear tire, it's a little bit different, but it is raked out a little bit more, but it handles extremely well, at least this generation. I am feeling a lot more wind hitting my body, but typically a V Rod wouldn't even have a Memphis Shades fairing on it. Typically it's wide open, so you're going to catch a lot of wind. I'm getting a reduced amount of wind because of my fairing, but it's nowhere near as much wind protection as your street glide and road glide touring motorcycle. So if you don't want to get fatigued from a bunch of wind, if you plan on doing some longer rides, you may want to look at one of those as a better option. Now, when it comes to leaning and cornering, the V Rod does sit kind of low. So depending on what suspension you got on it, how you got your suspension set, what exhaust you have on it, you know, you have that possibility for scraping a lot sooner when you're in the lean. But when you're on a touring bike, those are designed to look kind of slammed a little bit, some of them anyway. When you're leaning, you had a possibility of scraping your actual bags. So I don't think you want to scrape your bags, or depending on what type of floorboards you are, or if you got like the engine guards and stuff, you know, you probably scrape some of that stuff first. But I feel like mentally you're going to feel more cautious when you're going into corners and things like that, because you don't want to scrape up your beautiful Harley-Davidson touring bags. You just don't want to do that. Like when I was riding that street glide home, let alone it wasn't mine, but even if it was, I definitely took the corners a little easier because I didn't want to risk scraping up the bags. Now there's some type of ways to alleviate that. Like if you got the stretched bags, you know, they sit a little lower. If you got the standard bags and then you want to do something like put the limited suspension on those bikes, like the suspension that are on some of the limiteds, because it sits up a little bit higher, it's going to give you more of a lean angle. Or if you put something like the Olin's on there, or any of the other suspensions that's going to increase the height of the bike, you're going to have a little bit better lean angle. Like previously, before putting these progressive suspension on the V Rod, my lean angle was pretty damn horrible. I was scraping every time I turned, but these, I got them set a little firmer. They're a little bit higher than my original suspension, so I got a little bit better lean angle. Now I do need to go on and put the springs in the front because my front does dive a little bit. I feel like I need to add those heavy duty suspension. I bought the springs, the progressive springs for the front. I just got to get them put in, and I feel like that's going to help with my handling even more. But as you can see, oh, did I scrape? No, I didn't. But we'll see right here how she handles some of these corners, and she handles them perfectly fine. The V Rod is no slouch when it comes to getting out and riding and having some fun on it. So while we're going through these corners, because my GoPro gonna die pretty soon, I'm gonna talk to y'all about why you should get the touring bike over the V Rod, or why you should get the V Rod over the touring bike. If you plan on doing a lot, I mean a lot of excessive touring, and you want parts available, like availability of parts and things like that to customize your bike, then I would suggest you might want to look at the touring models. If you're looking for a lot of performance and you just want to have a ton of fun on your motorcycle, you want something a little bit different, and you don't really care too much about customizing it that much. Now you can do all kind of fabricating to these things. There's companies who will make it look however you want, but I'm talking about like bolt-on, do-it-yourself type of stuff. If you don't plan on doing a lot of that, then the V Rod is a great option. The other thing is the V Rod's probably going to be a lot less expensive than a touring motorcycle, and you can still set this bike up to be extremely comfortable. Like I got this sundowner seat on here, and the bike is comfortable. It's really comfortable to me now. But if I planned on taking some longer road trips, I would prefer the touring bike. I'm going to get a bigger gas tank, which is going to let me go a lot further. I'm going to have more wind protection, which is going to make sure I'm not getting as fatigued during my ride. You know, my passenger will probably be a lot more comfortable on a touring bike, and I won't have to have a backpack on my back. I can have all my luggage stored in the bags, be listening to music, have my GPS right in front of me, which I could have my GPS going on my phone right there, so that's irrelevant. But if you like the music and see in your screen right there, you can get all that, as well as more information about your bike. But you're not going to be able to get this type of performance just not. You're not going to get that type of performance, which I didn't even give it to her good. You're not going to get that kind of performance out of your touring bike. So you got to make your decision. What's more important? The ride, the comfort, how far you're going to be going, or the performance of the bike? Comment down below. What do you think is more important to you? Do you want to just have fun, or do you want to get out and do some serious traveling and be extremely comfortable and see all that scenic views on a regular, like once a week? You're going like 6 hours out just riding and enjoying all the beautiful views. Or are you just ripping around town having some fun and you want an aggressive sounding, powerful, aggressive, extremely powerful, torquey motorcycle? Let me know. Oh my God, just the sound of that thing when you rip on it, whew, Lord. But my GoPro is about to die, so if you ain't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. Comment down below I'm still here, if y'all still here and y'all made it to the end of this video. But give this video a big old thumbs up, and I will check y'all out in the next one. Right? Deuces.